I have a friend that lived across the street from me growing up, and I got an email from her in June that said, "Hey, I have this guy I want you to meet. What are you doing the week of July 8th?" And I thought, well, that's kind of weird that it's just 1 week's time. And I'm like, well, nothing. I don't have anything going on. She's like, okay, great. I want to introduce you to him. Well, he's only going to be here that week because he lives in Arkansas. And I thought, oh, this is a dumb idea. This guy lives a long ways away. But it was summer. I didn't have anything else to do. I thought, what the heck? I'll just go and meet him. So I met him through her when he was here for a work trip. And we hung out that whole week and just hit it off.
Jill and I came to meet back in July 2013. A friend of hers that worked at Union Pacific with me had got hired the same time I did. So we went to some classes together. That girl was in Omaha. I was in North Little Rock. So we stayed in contact. I would come up here from time to time to a class, and would always kind of catch lunch or meet up some way. And she kept telling me, hey, I got this girl you need to meet. She's a teacher. She's a runner. I'm a big runner. So I was coming up for a class for the whole week of July the 8th. And so we got together that afternoon, just maybe a block or so from Union Pacific, with 3 or 4 other people at a table. And she walks in with Jill and introduces her, and so we kind of get separated. She sits down at the table from me, but she had sent a picture of her to me for me to look at Jill, and she did the same to Jill, but it was a picture of me that Jill said she can barely see who I was on that, so it was kind of funny when we actually got to meet and talk a little bit. The impression I got from Jill is, I noticed her eyes first off when she came in there. Madeline introduced us, and like I said, she got separated from me a couple seats down. There's like maybe 5 or 6 of us sitting there. She's kind of looking my way. I'm talking to the other girl that I know, and I just kind of look over, kind of recognize her, see her smile, see her eyes. From time to time. I'm not really sure she's paying a whole lot of attention to me. I'm kind of at the end of the table there, never at a loss for words. So at this point, she's probably thinking, this guy talks really funny than anything I've ever heard in my life. So
when I first went to meet him, it was at a happy hour with a group of people, and he was sitting on the other end of the table, and I thought, oh, he's cute, and he seemed nice. He wasn't very saying a whole lot, which that was probably the one and only time he didn't have a whole lot to say. But towards the end of when we were hanging out, our connection kind of was running, and we got talking about running and our best time in a race, and I had beaten him, and so I kind of put the challenge to him, like, oh, well, we should go run together. And so then we went to run the next day together, and he was just really easy to talk to, and it felt like I had known him for a long time. And I usually get really nervous and have a hard time when I first meet someone, but he just made me feel really comfortable, and I thought he was just such a nice guy. Very different than a lot of people I had met before.
So we continued to talk. We were hanging out for probably about an hour as a group there, and then those guys got ready to leave, and I was going to stay and eat dinner, so I still wasn't sure at that time what her perception was. We didn't get any phone numbers or anything. It's just kind of like we met and distant, but I was just impressed with her smile, her eyes, and when we did talk, she kind of made a bragging remark about running, and she'd asked what my personal best was in a half marathon, and I'd said like 151 and some change, and she pops up and says, well, I've done 148, and so immediately threw the challenge gauntlet down for me, and so I kind of took a little pride in myself to work this out to see if we couldn't run together sometime in the future. So.
If you ask TD, he doesn't think our first date was till August, but when he was here visiting, we met with a group of people, and then the next night we went out for coffee, and the day after that we went running and had dinner together, and then the day after that we had dinner together and went to Jazz on the Green. So I thought all of those were dates. Come to find out later that he didn't think that was dates, that we were just like hanging out, and I'm like, well, when you buy someone dinner, isn't that a date? So he would probably say our first date was not until August when he came back to visit. But I consider our first date the second night he was here, and we went out for coffee and just sat and talked for a long time.
So the first date, Jill's story will be a little bit different because I think she calculated every time that we got together after that first night of meeting. After we met, I went back to the hotel, texted my friend Madeline, got Jill's number. She and I texted a little bit that night. And then the next night we met up, she come to the hotel, picked me up, and we went to the Hilton, had some coffee, just kind of hung out and talked till, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning maybe. She will calculate that as her first date. We met again the next night, which was Wednesday. We went out to run at Zarinsky, had pizza, went by her house. Jill's clock, that's date number 2. And then the next night we actually will be what TD considers to be date number 1. We went to Jazz on the Green, Cantina Laredo, and watched the fireworks show, which is where I found out that her love and fascination with fireworks. And she had thought at some point that night as she was watching the fireworks, she was going to get the first kiss, but we didn't do that there. So
I think it was me, and it was really unromantic. Because we lived so far apart, we talked on the phone a lot and text all the time. And we were texting back and forth, and I think it just came out, and then I wrote it, and I was like, oh my gosh, did I seriously just tell him that I loved him in a text message? And then he was like, he texted me back, and later on the phone that night, I was like, I can't believe I said that in a text message. He's like, well, I've been wanting to say it, but I just hadn't yet. And so we were not very romantic the first time that we said it to each other. And he is definitely the romantic in our relationship. So up to that point, you know, he had sent me all these, I always would tell him he was really mushy emails and text messages about how great I was and how much he enjoyed spending time with me and was getting to know me. So in a roundabout way, he kind of probably laid his feelings out there way before I did. I just said the words first.
The first I love you, I'm trying to recall, and I know that's bad, but I think it was in some form of, as bad as it sounds, maybe she sent a text to me. We'd kind of talked about it in a roundabout way there, somewhere like October-ish range. I think we both kind of knew at that point, just with a lot of interest, had spent a lot of time talking, and I'd been up here a couple of times from Arkansas, and we just kind of knew that was a person that we wanted to spend the rest of our life with. So at that point, I think she kind of sent it out in a text, and I kind of sent it back, and so for us to be past the texting age group, we start out with the I love yous in a text message. So and things just kind of blossomed from there.
We were back in my hometown for the 4th of July, and we're both big runners. And there's a 10K race the morning of the 4th of July, and he really wanted to do it. And I had my class reunion the night before. I said, I do not want to get up early and go run. So in the morning we get up, and I said, are you sure you want to go run? Like, can't we just sleep in for a little bit? He's like, no, let's go. So I dragged myself down there, and my mom and dad show up. I didn't think much of it. My sister and her fiance showed up. Didn't really think much of it. My other sister and her boyfriend showed up. Still has not clicked in my head, like, why would they all get up so early to come for this race? So I wasn't really a good participant because he had wanted me to bring his bag with his clothes for at the end of the race, and I was like, just send him in the car. We'll get him at the end. So the race gets over, and I think he had an alternate plan that didn't quite play out. Well, he had to go back to the car to get the bag. And if you know me, I really like to eat. And I was like, I'm so hungry. Let's go to breakfast. Well, my dad was in on the plan, and my dad's kind of trying to stall for time. I'm like, Dad, we'll just meet you uptown. We were going to go to this pancake breakfast. I said, we'll just meet you there. My dad's like, oh, no, let's just wait for TD. I'm like, I'll just walk to the car and get him. We'll meet you at breakfast. My dad's him-hawing around, and I cannot figure out why nobody's ready to go to breakfast. I'm starving. So finally, he comes back over, and my whole family's standing around talking. And I am just going on and on about how hungry I am, and can't we go get some pancakes, and I'm starving. And my sister finally says, Jill. And I look, and I notice that my dad has his phone out. And I turned, and there he was, down on one knee. He'd been down there for 30 seconds while I was ranting about how bad I wanted pancakes. And then he told me the real reason everybody's here, and he, started his whole proposal. I think I jumped in the air, and my voice got really high-pitched, and I squealed. And I was totally surprised, totally caught off guard. And then he gave me the ring.
So my proposal to her is I went and got the ring. A friend of mine in Little Rock there that has a jewelry store. So she and I talked back and forth, and so I went and got the ring from her. She had kind of ballparked. I told her Jill's a runner, all this kind of stuff. And so we kind of ballparked to get one with that had a little more security on there, so it wouldn't take a chance on losing it. I came to Omaha for work or to see her, and so her dad and I were able to get away, so I was able to ask her dad for, permission. He and I were kind of talking. And it was funny because I was talking to Dad and I asked, and then he got caught up in something else, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I never did respond to your question, but we do approve of that." So I had kind of coordinated with him if he would film the proposal. I come up July 3rd to run in a race in her hometown for a 10K, and so I get in late. She's saying, "You sure you want to get up and run?" I said, I got to get up and run. So I get up to run that morning. Both her sisters show up, and their boyfriends. And her mom and dad are there to watch us, or to watch me, because Jill's not running. So I have the ring in a bag, and I want her to carry my bag for me. She's like, "I'm not carrying your bag. The car's just right there, so we don't need the bag." So I run the race, get done, and we sort of get over in the area. She's worried about getting to breakfast, getting something to eat. So she keeps saying, "I'm hungry. We need to go eat breakfast." I go to the car, change clothes, get the ring, come back. I'm down on one knee. For all you guys out there know what's an eternity. Probably 5 or 6 seconds. Her dad's video, Mike's videoing from the background, and Jill saying, "I'm hungry, let's go to breakfast." And finally, one of her sisters brings it to her attention that I'm on a knee, and she squeals like she's a 5-year-old chasing a squirrel around a parking lot. So, she said yes, and we've kind of moved from there to get to this point today.
One thing that I forgot to mention that really sucked me in when I first met TD was the Southern accent, and it seems to get all the ladies. When he first came to my school, they were all like, "Oh, I just love the way he talks," and it definitely draws you in. I even am finding him maybe starting to sound a little bit like him sometimes. I'm excited about the next chapter of our lives, and to be married and to start that journey and that stage of our life and having a family together. We're building a new house. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. This was a big one, and we're just excited for that chapter of our life.
I would say going forward, I'm just excited about the journey of all the stuff that Jill alluded to. Just seeing how things progress over the next 3 to 5 years, 10 years down the road. And some of us get a little older and some of us don't. So just moving forward, having a family, new house, a new place for me, and just kind of seeing where things take us from there.
If you asked him, he'd like to be back in the South where it's warm.
You go with that one. I'll let you have that one first.
Yeah, you'd like to be in the South where it's warm. I figure I'm going to have him adapted to the cold weather by then. I don't know. We can't predict what the future brings. We hope to have a family together and to keep enjoying our time together, and that our relationship just keeps growing stronger.
Yeah, in 10 years, I have no idea. I don't know that I'll ever adapt to the cold. And people that know me well know I'm sort of nomadic, so I kind of up and go here, there, and yonder. Moving here was about my 5th move in Union Pacific in 3 years. So Jill would like it in the South. It's not this time of year. It would be sunny and 75 or something, so you can get used to that. Moving forward, just keeping the right things at the center of life, and just seeing how things progress, still enjoying each other, and not forgetting how we met, and not getting distracted by some of the other things in life that kind of seem to get others distracted. Making sure that we are there for each other no matter what.
He does so many little things for me. Anyone that knows me knows I'm kind of a tornado in the morning is like how I like to describe myself. And I'm forgetful, and I lose things and spill things and drop things all the time. And he's always doing things to try to make life easier for me. I get up in the morning, he has my coffee in the Keurig ready to go. Just like always thinking of little things to do to make me happy and to make life easier for me. And always looking out for me, and I just love that so much about him.
You guys out there, pointer question on the Keurig, man. I'm telling you, it's a bonus on the Keurig. Just slide a coffee cup on her. It's Jill's heart and her compassion for people. Just, I see it all the time. I went to school last year up there, had lunch with her several times. Just the way that she carries herself, the way that she cares about other people, just her passion and drive. But it's the smile in the eyes pretty much all the time, just the big eyes, the big smile, always happy. And if you know us very well, I kind of run kind of high throttle all the time, and Jill is pretty level all the time. She doesn't get real fired up, real intense about a whole lot of things. So just that right there, the way she takes care of things, the way she cares for me, the stuff that she does for me, it's just amazing each day.
I'd like to say special thanks to both of our families. TD's family and friends have traveled a long way to be here, and we appreciate so much that you packed your cold weather gear and made the trip here. And my family, who has just always been so supportive and is always there for us no matter what we need. And to our friends, you know, I spent a lot of years as a single girl, and I am forever thankful for all of the friends that I have made along the way, who are my lifelong friends and have made life such a fun journey. And it's so fun to celebrate tonight with all of you.
Thank my parents for making the trip up. I know my dad was worried about freezing to death. For you guys that have met him out there, he's a guy that's all wrapped up with all the clothes he owns and a hoodie. So parents, both sides, Mike and Jenny, been great since we met. Jill's friends, Bob, adapted me in as the guy who probably talks funny. The guys, all you people that traveled from deep in the south where it's probably not snowing. Everyone out there that's kind of made the trip, put your time in to spend this night with us, and we look forward to having a great evening with you all.